Welcome everybody once again to Mystic Times. I'm so happy to have you here and so happy that you're following this journey where we are speaking with very amazing guests. We are learning a lot about from very subtle and mystic things to very more dense and practical everyday things. And today we have this great guest. She's been on the show before. Her name is Dr. Nisha Manek. She's a rheumatologist, and she's in her journey, she's connected with Buddhism and with the relics of the Buddha, which is one of the main topics we spoke about last time. Today, we're going to be exploring something else, which we will share with you in just a few moments. But first, Nisha, hi, how are you?
Hey, good to be with you, Rafa. Hi from Orange County, California.
Yes, and hello right back at you from Montevideo, Uruguay. This is amazing to be connecting once again with you, but also this idea of connecting through the internet and how it's becoming so much more common. It's just a wonderful opportunity we're living in these times, right?
Yes. I agree with you. Technology serving in the highest good.
Yes, that is
not
correct.
Just entertainment, is really a connection. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have maybe like a sea of noise with a few interesting signals also. So it's that's why I'm so happy for people to be here, because this isn't a very popular or very known podcast, but I've received some beautiful comments, and I'm so happy that people are enjoying the interviews and they're enjoying the questions, they're enjoying the and receiving something from the interviews, from the conversations, and they find the guests interesting, which is something that's so important for me, because actually I started this like looking for guests that would be interesting for me, or people that I already admired and wanted to have like an excuse to talk to them. And for some reason, you know, the destiny, synchronicity, I found you, and I found the stuff you shared so powerful and so beautiful, because there is, between all the noise that we can find online, there is these beautiful messages of unity, of reconnecting to our source, to our being. And we're going through some interesting times, which can sometimes be scary, and remembering that we are always, that in the end we're always okay, because we are more than we can imagine in our everyday consciousness, you know. And I think what you share, which is also related to reconnecting science and spirituality, I think that is a very important piece of the puzzle.
Yes, and so I think you're absolutely right. We're absolutely drowning in information, drowning in it. And so there is this technology which has given us at our fingertips everything we can search. Yeah, a phone can search everything. A library, Britannica, Encyclopedia Britannica at your fingertips. What are you going to do with this? And so the service that Mystic Times podcast brings is some coherence. Coherence is very finely tuned information. It's information of a very high order. And if you are ready to listen to that, it can actually quicken your evolution. We are here on Schoolhouse Earth, Rafa. Planet Earth is hard. This is a toughie, because we're not in some angelic realm. We are here. And things are changing, and they will continue to do that. And the uncertainty, all of this is pouring all the time. That information, it is up to us to really choose now. And so the Mystic Times podcast gives a restfulness. You know, I sometimes tell my patients, rest in God. Rest. Just go down into your heart. Put your attention. I tap my forehead, and then I tap all the way to my chest and say, let's close our eyes and rest. Rest in God, because there's so many priorities, information, and then they go down and they rest in God. You know, A Course in Miracles, one of the lessons, workbook lessons of A Course in Miracles is rest in God. And of course, God is silence. You can't describe it. You can't use language. You can't put symbols and all this thing. I'm using English right now, right? I'm trying to communicate something of the magnificence of just being in your heart and staying there. But it is restful, peaceful, silent. Those are the things that will now define us as we go forward, because we're in this noise, information. And that's what you're referring to, that it's time when people listen to this, they go, rest, because something stirs inside. Recognition, because it's natural. Rafa, this state of the heart and silence is natural. So we remember our true essence. That's all. And once you do that, then you come home. You come home. And so while we're in the temporary earth home, we realize that this is our lessons. We're learning them without fear. And you mentioned that, do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. And this is the greatest opportunity to quicken, make it faster, to leave the fear behind and go home. Yeah. And so we bridge that science, and then we bridge our inner knowing. And whatever, I use Buddha relics, but I also study the Bible, the Psalms. I studied the Bhagavad Gita of Krishna and Arjuna, his friend, his cousin. Timeless. These are not of space and time, timeless, beyond that. Always will survive here, today, and forevermore. What gifts? We don't have to reinvent anything. It was always there. So we go there for a bit, rest, and then come back and do our thing. We have lunch to do, exercise to do, for me to show up in clinic, which I do on camera, and be present. Yeah, so I think, Rafa, I want to tell you, you're giving a tremendous service in this time. Mystic Times podcast is a tremendous service at this time. And when it goes out into the field, what Tiller, my mentor, Dr. Bill Tiller, says, the reciprocal space, that is more powerful and impacts everything in normal reality. So Mystic Times podcast is really something quite incredible. It is in this space and time, but it is timeless. So go with that knowing and go with that joy. I could keep talking, but I'm going to let you ask your questions.
No, it's beautiful, everything that you're saying. It touches my heart deeply. I'm so thankful for that. It sounded like a promotion for the show, within the show, but really I'm very happy to explore all these ideas, because for a long time I felt like I was alone in the world, thinking like this, or being interested in all of the things that I am interested. And well, eventually, synchronicities and time and karma, things start popping up in your life that start guiding you towards the others, towards friends, towards teachers, and you begin kind of consolidating the stuff that you intuitively know. At least that was the journey for me, or a part of my journey. And yeah, from what you were saying, something that stuck with me is how important it is to switch between the processing mode and the integration mode, perhaps. So rest in God, right? So we are like saturated again with all the noise and all the information that's available to us, which is making us kind of stressed and kind of crazy, because we don't have time to settle back into that place, which automatically integrates and process and not process. I feel like when we are looking for information and receiving, we are like in processing mode, a very attentive kind of awareness. but then we can rest. Of course, we sleep, which is, thank God that for sleep, or we would completely burn the machine. But we can also include this sort of integrative consciousness within the waking time. So
right.
And that, like you say, would accelerate our evolution.
You know, so you reminded me of my wonderful teacher, Vimala. She was in India. In Bridging Science and Spirit, I dedicate the book to Vimala Tucker and David Hawkins. Vimala ji said that when you take in information through your eyes, through your ears, through your mouth, that is your diet. You're taking it in. You've taken it in. And you're right, when you sleep, you are actually processing that. And if you're really taking it and believe in it, it's part of you. It's part of your belief system and patterns. Okay? So here's the thing, because there are many negative patterns. And how then are you going to take a different diet? If we just stay with the word diet, okay, what you see and hear and take in is really profoundly important. You can change your diet because you're in charge of that. And what Dr. David Hawkins said was, the way to change your diet, to take in that information of the highest kind, is a contemplative life. This is distinct from meditation. Meditation means you're observing your mind. You're not trying to silence the mind. You're not trying to do anything violent to the mind, not forcing it. Don't force your, and by the way, it's not your mind anyway. You know, we have a habit of saying my mind as though you own it. No, the mind is doing its thing, just like the heart is doing its thing. The heart is beating, nourishing your body. The lungs are taking in and out of oxygen automatically, not personal. Just like that, the mind is doing its thing. It has a momentum. It's not your mind. And the moment you know that, you can relax it. Oh, I will just observe it. Just become familiar with what this antenna is doing. Now, contemplative practice. What does that diet mean? Contemplative practice by the mystics is so important. It's going to take you home very quickly. I would even say quicker than meditation. Meditation, people get hung up on all kinds of stuff. Gaps in thoughts and silence and monkey mind and all. There's like 1 million apps and books and everything. Contemplative practice, on the other hand, you contemplate one aspect of scripture. Rest in God. Right there. Right there. So as I prepare to be here with Rafa, I actually did that before I got on camera with you. I sat, rest in God. And I sat for about 15 minutes. And I was so looking forward to spending time with you because it's a communion. And then there is the greater alignment all the time. When I do my body posture like this, is like the greater canvas is always in your awareness. So the awareness is not rooted in limitation of this body, the food, the hunger, the sensation, the light. Is my Zoom working? No, the greater reality begins to be resting in God. So I give my patients intentions. Intention is a prayerful life. You show up with the intention on this day that your diet, what you take in your mouth, what you hear in your ears, what you see with your eyes, all that you take in is of the very highest order, coherence of love. So rest in God, be still, and know I am God. Psalm 91 is my favorite. He shall give his angels charge over thee. He shall give his angels charge over thee to raise thee up in their arms, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. You are being protected. We're the highest species in intelligence because we can talk and create and share and become silent. We have the spectrum of consciousness from the lowest, darkest to Christ in one lifetime. We don't have to waste time. Don't waste time. Be on the pathway and look at your diet. Look at the diet that you're on. What are you watching? What are you thinking? What are you listening to? And what are you eating? This is all your diet and forms a new you. You can transform yourself totally. We're in the image of Father. And so when Master Jesus says those things, those are absolutely clues and very real. We trust in those words. Just as Krishna says, you are kind to Rafa, you show up at a Zoom meeting, and you rested in God, you are mine. You are mine, I'm going to take care of you. Actually, Krishna says this, you are kind, you're one of mine. You've shown the capacity in your consciousness. You have the ability, the discernment, you're one of mine. This is extremely powerful. And Buddha, go explore these. Sit under your Bodhi tree. Be there on your chair and ask and explore. Don't be afraid. Go there, right? He saw the spectrum of life and it shocked him from death and disease and old age, and he had never seen those things. And it was a big disservice by his king, his father, the king. And so Buddha runs away, runs away. So we have the luxury of teachings of this great avatar. And he's saying, listen, run away in your own dining room, run away in your own library and sit there and look at the diet you're taking in. We have all these tools. So this word diet and this word contemplation. Diet, what are you taking in? Has it served you? And sometimes my patients will ask, but Dr. Manek, I can't tell, I don't know. So they've arrived at a fork or, like a prong in the road of understanding, inner standing, not understanding. I call it inner standing. What are you standing inside? And I ask them, let's for a moment think this way or this way. So what gives you peace? What gives you peace in these two choices? And just think over it. And we even take a few moments to explore it. And they will be able to tune in, inner standing, and say, oh, I think I'm supposed to do this. So the peace in your heart gives you an indicator, but you have to be silent to receive that wisdom. Okay, so A Course in Miracles says that when you are not sure about a supplement, about something, about a TV or about science, that you heard this report, and if you're feeling disturbed, hold it, hold it. What's this diet telling you? And if it's bringing you distress, it's probably not in your highest good. Leave it, leave it. It's not going to do you any good to take it in and verify and ask 10 people and ask, you know what I mean? So I'm very, very aware of that. I don't watch news anymore. I haven't done that for months and years now, almost. I watch baking shows. I like cooking. And then I have Coca-Cola sometimes, So there is a relativeness to it, joy and no force. Never be violent towards your mind. You force yourself, that's self-violation. I'm using big language here because it's true. You're forcing yourself. You're committing violence against your own self, your own soul. What has it done wrong to you? Nothing. So become wise. Yeah. All right. So contemplation, good scripture, and take that as your diet and contemplate it. Then, you're not drowning. You are like a cork that floats in the sea. You bob up. And not only that, you help all the ships in the sea rise up. They all float higher by virtue of you. How many people does it take to save the world? You. It's you. You're the savior, right? So we don't look out there, we're looking at ourselves. We put the mirror in front of us. The person, the very salvation you're looking for is staring right back at you. You are looking for you. You're looking for you. Don't go out there. Right there. Very immediate. Yeah.
Thank you, Nisha. Sometimes podcasts feel so pointless. We sit for hours to talk when the answer is in the silence. But let's dive a little bit deeper into the idea of contemplation. I'm more of a meditator, or if you could put it in those terms. But through meditation, or one of the main things, the main tools for me has been to learn to shift my awareness. It's hard to put in words, but to be more present in the observer, in the witness, and
Yes.
and let's explore how that is connected to contemplation, if it's connected in some way.
Yes, so meditation is wonderful, no question. And there's stages in meditation. The first one will be just and I speak from personal experience, the violence that I was doing to myself to sit like a chore. And I'd go and open one eye and say, is my 5 minutes done? I was counting the seconds because it was so disturbing and so long. And now, half an hour, I think, what? So it was from long, tortuous violence, trying to silence this and formulas to, let me just observe myself. So there was a deep acceptance because I tried it for years and I wasn't going anywhere. And I realized, futile, just sit now. That was my meditation.
I remember also for myself, the first day or the first time when I was meditating and the meditation finished, we were doing a group meditation. And it was just silent meditation, but in groups, so as to like have the energy of all of us together. And I remember the first time that the meditation finished, and I came back and I was like, wow, I didn't force my mind to do anything. For the first time, I remember that day. It was a very big, wow, I was actually just watching. For the first time, I wasn't fighting with my thoughts.
Right. You are not committing violence. And I keep on saying this because that's what we are doing in meditation. It takes so long. And that's why people are afraid of it. When I tell my patients, I prescribe meditation, and they're actually, I can see on their faces, they're terrified. So something about the whole notion of meditation doesn't sit well because they feel it's filled with struggle. But you're right, sometimes the struggle is necessary to become aware of your diet. What have you taken in? What are the patterns? And then you can, and it's overnight. One day you find, oh, it's gone. Something about the stack has been resolved. So meditation is valuable, no question. Meditation, the way I would say, is a spontaneous way of living in the world. It is not conditioned. That means you're just showing up in the world. And what I mean also by that is you are dead to the immediate past. It doesn't form a crystallized pattern in you. It isn't a memory. It is literally aliveness. Every breath, every fragrance, every sight is aliveness. That's a meditative way of living, fully present and dead to the past. You're not surprised. You're not interested. You're not labeling good, bad, beautiful, sunset, blah, blah. No, you just are, because life just is. It's not labels, okay? We have a human mind is so fast in labels. Wow. It's made a judgment before you can do anything. That's the mind. That's what it does. And once you're meditating, the momentum slows and slows, and then you are alive. When you're alive in that meditation of life, the fragrance of life is so wonderful. You're not attached, whether you're in a jail sentence, you're in the best restaurant, everything is equal. There's an equivalence to life. So the judgment drops away. So how can the contemplative and meditation meet? Because that's such a beautiful thing you've asked. So meditation, I'm going to call it, for lack of a better way, bottom up. And contemplative practice is the highest information, the highest diet coming down. And that information will transform you. There is no other way. It has to, because you're accepting a new diet. And Tiller science, the science of physics, shows when you bring in a very high level of information, which is coherence, which is the truth, it has the power to change the very cellular mechanism. We saw that with Master Jesus. His body is not now this. His body can resurrect. Okay? And he's showing something. Master Jesus in Easter is saying, look, feel my hands, look at this. Yes? And then he ascended to heaven, right? So this is showing that our very biology, for Jesus, it was, I'm going to my Father. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to ask my, and in fact, I think it said, Master Jesus, when he was young as a boy, he would ask Joseph and Mary certain questions, innocent child questions about reality, about living well. And Joseph would say, well, I don't know, son. And so Master Jesus would say, okay, I'm going to go and ask Baba. They use certain Aramaic words. And he says, what do you mean? The Baba is here. Joseph is saying, no, I'm going to ask my Father in heaven. Jesus was connected in a very deep way. He respected his earthly parents, but he was animated by a contemplative life. High, just infiltrating his very biology, that the body is there, it serves because then he can talk to his Baba there, but he's actually talking to Baba over there, okay? So there was a meeting of earth and heaven. So like that, meditation, you're preparing the soil to be totally spontaneous so you can receive the contemplative messages to such a degree that there is no blockage. The heart is fully open to receive that. The cup is full and it runs over to nourish everyone. There's no limitations. So you are overflowing, and just by the very presence of you, you radiate something of the being, your understanding. Okay, it's immediate. You don't say, oh, I'm going to sit and take 5 minutes to rest in God tomorrow. I think I'll do that from tomorrow. Sounds really nice. No, wisdom means now. No delay. No delay. That's what contemplative practice impresses upon the human consciousness. Okay, I'm using the word consciousness because there are different levels. And once you're prepared the souls with meditation, the contemplative mind is so pregnant with possibility, you know. Now it's the biggest service to the world. You're not twisting yourself in a pretzel to make this happen and to make this happen and make this happen. And no, you're alive. And I remember one very funny moment with Dr. Hawkins, and he was saying this, something very similar, that meditation, you're spontaneous, totally alive. Whatever possibility comes to your door, you are ready. You're not with fear. And somebody posed the question, well, somebody's pointing a gun at you. What are you going to do? He did this. He put his fingers in his ears and scrunched his eyes. That's it. So he's ready. Do you understand the humor, the fun, and totally ready, that I'm ready? All is fine. There is no problem at any point. And in that question and answer and response was something tremendously beautiful. Okay, he's ready. There's no complaining or hiding or crouching or, you just did this. I'm ready.
That's such a huge act of faith to be ready for whatever, even death.
It's a good practice, and I've done this, that you lie in bed and you say, okay, it's my final night. Yeah, I'm ready, God. I'm ready to be merged. It's okay. I don't need this gross body anymore. It's done its thing, and I'm ready. It's a good practice, actually. I think the Buddhists do that. They actually contemplate because death is not really dead. It's not the end, right? We think of it like that. No, it's not true. Not true. It's a continuation. You're just dropping this suit, this thing. So we take care of it. I mean, I'm not saying, I told you I like Coca-Cola. I do drink it here and there. With sugar too, no diet. I'd have the absolute Coca-Cola. Make an ice float too, put ice cream in it. So one takes care of the biology, but there is this notion of just being and saying, okay, I'm ready to not be afraid, and just, because you don't feel your physical death. You don't. People think they're in pain or something. No, it doesn't have to be like that. It's not, you don't actually feel the dropping of the body. You actually will, it is actually a doorway to meet a jump in consciousness. So it's a wonderful way. And I think meditation will prepare you for that too.
You know what? I had this experience where I've told it before on the show, so I'll be just quick about it. But the point of it is connected to this idea of death and this concept that we have of death being something painful or disturbing necessarily. And
yeah,
this was an experience during a psychedelic ceremony. So we were working with ayahuasca in particular, and I had this experience of my body shutting down. Maybe somebody could call it a near-death experience. I don't know, but it was the most calling aspect of it, or the most interesting maybe aspect of it, was how I felt my body shutting down, and I sensed, oh wow, I'm dying, and I felt. Of course, one could say, okay, but you didn't really die, maybe, or I don't know, but I really felt like first my body shutting down, like I was saying, and then like my soul coming out of the body. And when it came out, there was this perception or this awareness, like of these cosmic entities dancing together and playing. And I was watching them, but at the same time, one of them was the one that came out of my body. So I could say one of them was my soul, maybe. And then it would go back into the body, and I would be reanimated. The body would be reanimated.
Yeah.
And then it came out again, and I was again seeing them dancing. And there was this very powerful experience for me that I'm still like digesting perhaps of me being or of my identity being in the body, then my identity coming out and being one of these dancers, cosmic dancers or something, but at the same time a third perspective of my awareness looking at the dancers, you know. So not even, you are not even that dancer or that cosmic self that you thought for a moment. It's like, no, there is something watching that even. It was very powerful for me.
Yeah, you remind me of it seems like out of body, and that's quite a lot of people have that, and it was written most eloquently by Robert Monroe. Robert Monroe, Monroe Institute in the USA. And he realized that he could go out of body at will. You can use chemicals or ayahuasca. And then he would do certain tin roof and copper roof. He thought it had to do with the lightning. And he tried it. Then he realized, no, if you do binaural beats, you can actually go out of body. And he trained many people to do that. And it's quite fun. He said you can go through the cosmos and go back to your body. You will reanimate it. One question though I have for you, Rafa, when you had that out of body experience with the ayahuasca, did it lead for you in a bigger jump in your consciousness? And I'll explain in a moment. I want you to interpret that how you will. Did you have a jump in your understanding or consciousness?
Like as a consequence of that, would you say? Or yes, definitely. It because again, something that maybe I wasn't very clear about. It felt really safe, you know, when I quote unquote died. It was so peaceful. It was just like a dimmer, lowering the lights, and like my consciousness going from the five senses backwards, I could say, in or inner or more inside, but at the same it felt larger. So one would say, like, how can the inside be larger than, but it was inside, not physically. That's the thing. So that's why it felt more expansive, and it gave me this larger perspective of who I am, of who we are, of what we are doing here, and how an aspect of ourselves experiences this, you know, the soul, let's say, or this cosmic being would, I always use this analogy, it would come into my body like a hand into a glove. That's how it felt.
Right.
And when it came out, there was like this point where it was like the body was something other than me, you know, and my identity was this other being coming out of the body.
Yes.
And then, like in an instant, it was like this other thing looking at all this experience. So it helped me see, like, where is it that you are looking from, and it connects to what you were saying. You know, you are what you are looking for.
Yeah. So the body is a vehicle, very useful. Dr. Hawkins once joked he took Bob Monroe's class to be out of body, and he used to do it very quickly. They put headphones, they're lying on the bed, and Hawkins would be out of his body and looking down on the body on the bed. And we know we see this in ER and also operating theaters, you know, in surgery. People have reported this is now well accepted. It's not woo-woo. Anyway, so Dr. Hawkins used to do this. It was in the 70s. And he once, I like that we say hand in glove. He said, once I was flying in the cosmos, and you're right, there's entities. And he comes back to his body, goes in, but went upside down. He was looking to the back of the head. He says, I actually had to come out and do right side up and go. I thought, whoa. So, you know, you think you don't know up and down and left and right, because those are labels. There's no such thing. But I guess when you're coming closer to the grossness of physical, when you're going back and manifesting and into that reality, you need direction, I guess. But it was very funny. And I have never had out of body. I have had, I would say, with the relics of Buddha, where I just lost the perception of that the body was there, but I wasn't interested in it. I wasn't interested in feeding it. I wasn't interested in sleeping, nothing. I was so hyper aware. It was amazing. And you're right, the sense of oneness was definitely there. There was no separation, non-duality was very much, but you can't function, I'll tell you. You can't not eat. The biology needs certain things, like we're saying, yeah. So yeah, and you're right. I think the outer body does help you have a jump in consciousness. And I think what I hear from you is there was a lessening of the fear. There's no fear. It's a peacefulness, like you go, oh, you know, it's just a dimmer switch. No big deal. And so the fear has to go, because a lot of people are afraid. Okay, in today's world, we are seeing a massive amount of fear that has led a certain kind of life, and we have to watch it and help them. We give compassion just by this podcast to say, you know, they are where they are, and hopefully they'll listen to this and revisit their diet. They've taken a certain diet, that's all.
Yeah, I should say there is still fear. I wish it had been evaporated completely with that experience. And that is something that is also kind of a paradox of the thing, you know, it shows you. I've had several experiences in life where I've been shown, or I've perceived kind of like several steps ahead, to put it in some way.
Yes.
And then I've returned, and it's like, okay, now walk it, or something like that, you know. Like I've had experiences of kind of a quantum jump to see like where the destination we could put it, and then I've returned, and it's been okay, now be here and experience that, because that paradox of, you know, language forces us in a way to use the idea of a journey that has a destination, but part of the
journey itself is it, the process.
Exactly.
It's not,
for me, part of the understanding was that this is always this way, or, you know, if I had this sort of quantum jump into or a preview of something higher or whatever, or more subtle, one of the main understandings of that is like, this is always this way. And the human body is an expression of this and not the other way.
Yeah. You know, eventually though, Rafa, we won't need human bodies to communicate. We can bilocate, we can levitate, we can be in two places at once. That's called bilocation. So we are very kindergarten. You just leave this, okay, Rafa, and leave it joyfully. That's not your reality. You're much bigger than this. So when the fear comes, and it will, Eckhart Tolle writes this in his very Power of Now, very big introduction. He's a student in Cambridge, and one night he had terrifying, he couldn't fathom, where's this terror coming from? That was the ego dying. It's not the physical, it's the ego. And he just literally fell unconscious, doesn't know how long, and he wakes up, everything was different. He had let the ego die. And Hawkins has spoken of this. He says, when that happens, you walk no matter what. You keep moving no matter what. You are ready. You've heard this now. So in your aura, this information, this diet stays, that no matter what, you keep moving, and you drop the physical. You let it go. But, or rather, and the ego. I'm using, okay, let it go. That's the thing. It's the ego, which is this terrifying. If I don't have this, how will I survive? The whole identification with the ego is so strong, as though this is it. No, it's like a shadow on the wall. The mouse is this tiny and the mouse looks really huge on the wall. You go, oh, that's a monster. No, okay, so you keep moving no matter what. And there'll be high pass. There are many teachers who have gone through the high pass, but you can also fall back. You don't want to do that. You want to keep moving. High pass, like Jesus did. You go all the way. And the contemplative practice will prepare you because you already know the truth. You already exposed it, and have you assimilated that with daily rest in God?
So
I rest in God.
Let's look at so to return to this, let's look at the contemplative practice in a very practical way. Like how would that look like? How can one begin a contemplative practice?
I keep a journal, and so I read either Gita or Buddhist scripture, Sangata Sutra. It's called Sangata Sutra, which I got from the Buddha relics. You can just write Sangata, Sanghata, Sangata Sutra. It's free. It comes like a PDF. You download it, and you can actually copy the Sangata Sutra in a book daily, 5-10 minutes. Those are Buddha's words. I swear, when you do that, when I say I swear, something magical goes on. Something, I don't even understand it because it's in Pali, the Buddha's language. Like Jesus spoke Aramaic, Krishna speaks Sanskrit, Buddha spoke Pali, P-A-L-I. So Sangata Sutra is one way. For me, it is taking a scripture, rest in God, or be still. I write it 3 times, 6 times, 9 times. 3, 6, 9. There's a reason for that. I won't go into it because there's a torsion effect of 3, 6, and 9. And I don't quite understand the physics of it. Tiller and I didn't talk about that. We talked about intention. The human intention is consciousness at work. And when you're absolutely focused, wow, you're going to manifest things. And by the way, you can't manifest bad things. Doesn't have the power to do it. It's only from love that intention works. Okay, people go, oh, what if you can use the science for bad things? No, you can't. It doesn't have the oomph, the power to do it. But when you work from love, the power is exponentially high. And I give a scale in Bridging Science and Spirit, the levels of consciousness. Okay, so I won't go into that. So the contemplative practice is make a decision now. Wisdom is no delay. You do it today, now. And you select a piece of scripture that has deep meaning for you. For me, I've exposed Sangata Sutra, beautiful. I've read the Gita, beautiful. And I'll pick one out of the Gita. I sometimes even randomly open. There we are. And then I write it out. I write it in a green pen just because Nisha likes green, okay? Can be a purple pen, but do it. And then you hold that throughout your day. So when I fire up my computer, and if I'm, busy, I just sit for just even a split second, rest in God. Split second. He'll give his angels charge over thee. Okay, I'm taken care of. Literally, when I'm worried, I know the angels are taking care. I relieve my burden. I surrender it to them, whoever they are. It doesn't matter. I don't give a face or anything. Sometimes I do. So, I'm always evolving in my own joyful, day-to-day contemplative way.
Right. So the way I understand this, I usually go to the Gita and for example, take something random, like you just said. But then the idea is to also keep that in mind during the day. So in certain moments, when you are in fear or in doubt or in worry, like bring that back, right? So I remember one time, just like the day I realized in meditation, oh, I wasn't fighting with my mind. I remember also one day having this realization that I now connect to this contemplative practice, like you're mentioning, that it was like the idea that came to me was how important it is to keep our connection to the sacred texts. Was like the idea. I was reading the
Yes.
Bhagavad Gita, and there was this moment where something like really clicked in me, and I remember, and I thought, wow, this like consciousness that I am in right now wouldn't be possible if I didn't keep remembering it's like sometimes in manifestation and all that, you will hear, okay, so positive thoughts, but this is like even higher than positive thoughts. It's like the
Exactly.
words
It's
from
not,
the masters.
yeah, you made a good point. You said, I keep it in mind. I look at Krishna's words and I remind myself throughout the day. That's it, contemplative practice. And when
It's
you are
like
disturbed,
it's
when you
like
are disturbed,
devotion.
yeah, it is an ocean. It's limitless because those words are timeless. They have a power. They might use the same alphabet, the same English, but the power is felt. Isn't that amazing? And so you keep it in mind, and you can use the tool of pen and paper and writing it.
That's
Okay,
a good
I
one.
do that. I do that. Those are the tools. And then you keep, and then if the fear is not leaving, even though you're remembering, rest in God, you surrender it. You even say, show me the miracle in this situation. Not take it away, I hate it, that man is so mad, my mother-in-law is the worst mother-in-law. No, you're simply saying, show me the miracle in this. I'm supposed to see this. It's come. So I have to learn this. I'm going to learn this, gain the wisdom, and keep moving on, because I'm not going to deal with mother-in-law like this again. So you're not confronting or resisting, you're surrendering, and that's contemplative practice. You're totally linking with the divine teachings and making them alive. And in fact, you're living a life of prayer. You're living a life of prayer. No resistance, no crystallization into memories and thoughts and new patterns and all that. You're not even interested in that. You are you're on the pathway to Christ consciousness. End of story.
Yes, and earlier I also think I said like it's devotion. So we have we might have some resistance with some words, especially those connected with spirituality, but devotion, meaning having faith, which is another word that's hard for some people, having faith in the connection that these, for example, words and phrases or mantras, in the connection that they have this like golden cord that goes directly to the origin where it came from, which is wisdom and love.
Yes, I like your word devotion. You're right. It's and it is, a rope. It's a thick rope, because a lot of the rope is your experiences, all of those diets you've taken in. Now you made a big rope which is intertwined. Everything is owned by you. All of life and human experiences are that rope, and that rope is your connection to the divine. But you don't get stuck in the rope all the time. It is a connection. Yeah.
Yeah, it helps you kind of climb it, maybe.
Yeah, I think the visual that it's a thick rope, it can't break, it's not going to break, but it is an anchor. You've done your work on this schoolhouse earth, and now you're ready for the divine to, and God comes and meets you. It's not like he's sitting somewhere up there. So every time you meditate and contemplate, God is taking 10 steps towards you. You're taking one baby step there. It's just how divine. That's why I said, Krishna says, you're one of mine. You're mine. And Buddha says, yes, go experience it. I've done the work for you. And verify it. Whoa, easy peasy, somebody's done it. And he was like luxury spoiled prince, and we're in the schoolhouse earth, you and me, Rafa, you know, we're in it. So like that, we invite and invoke the divine all of the time, and that's contemplation. We're living a life of prayer. Thy will be done. It actually is one of my favorites. Thy will be done, God, in this paper and in this MailChimp campaign about antioxidants. Thy will be done. I want to speak the truth so that whoever reads this is animated to take action today for the health of the biology, because it's so immediate. Fine, then that will be my service.
Yes, that is also my intention with the podcast, is to speak from my heart and to not be an impediment for whatever has to come through to come as clearly as possible.
You know, this is and we'll end on this note, which is, somebody had asked Dr. David Hawkins, if love is the answer, how can I get more love in my life? And Dr. Hawkins says, you can't. Love is the essence of that which you are. Love is the essence of that which you are. What you do is release the obstacles to that love. Drop it. Let it come through. You can't get it, but you are it. So relieve the obstacles and all the patterns and beliefs and crystallizations and let it open. That's it.
What do you say? I just pulled up my Bhagavad Gita. This is in Spanish.
Oh, right. Wow. Hey, do you want to share something from today?
Yeah, I want to just go randomly and just pick something, whatever.
Yes, let's do it. I love the Gita. Yes.
Yeah, this is from chapter 13, verse 22. I'm going to try to read it in Sanskrit, which I don't know, but there's the transliteration here. So it says, Purusha Prakriti Shtohi Bhungte Prakriti Jan Gunyan Karanam Gunya Sangosya Sadasad Yoni Janmasu. I'm not sure if that was the best rendition, but
it was absolutely magnificent. I'm quite jealous of you, actually. What a diet you have.
Thanks,
you have the
Nisha.
best diet.
So here the translation, it's in Spanish, so I'll translate it into English as I'm reading it. The living entity that is in the bosom of the material nature walks the paths of life, enjoying of the three modalities of nature, of the three modes of nature. That is because of its contact with this material nature. It is this way that it encounters good and evil between the different species. So that's what verse 22.
So Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha is the material nature. You need the animation of Prakriti coming in. And so you have the three aspects, which is Rajas, Tamas, and Sattvic, right? The three gunas you have to, as far as I understand. So you have a balance there. Dr. Bill Tiller, the physicist, often told me that he felt that consciousness is spirit, Prakriti. He didn't use the word Prakriti. He just said spirit entering dense matter. And so you have these colorful aspects, this spectrum then showing up in all of its splendor, you know. And he never judged dark and light. He didn't talk like that, which is, Dr. Tiller was unique that way, you know, never resisted and didn't use labels. He simply grew in his own physics and in his own life. He did a contemplative practice on Psalms. Psalm 23, Psalm 46, Those were his daily meditations, and he would write them out. He wrote, and he would read them, and then he would end with all is light, I am light, so that's contemplation.
And in a way, it's affirmations, it's something that's very popular these days. Affirmations of the
but
highest kind.
affirmations are trying to still get your mind into some state. Here we're saying no mind, no mind. The essence has no mind, it is silence, and that's very different, subtle ways. Just to make sure that there's no misunderstanding. So affirmations are a good way, a good step to keep moving on, because your affirmations are a good way to understand that you're in charge, you're capable of this. So if a patient is really terrified of meditation, we say, let's start with affirmations, and you'll see them relax. I can do that. So it's a good baby step to keep moving higher. But we're going, whoa, we're going over there. And then we're saying spirit is ready. We're going there. We're not afraid. We may not even understand Sanskrit or Pali. Doesn't matter. Just start doing it. Let the divine speak to you, because it is ready. It's just you're activating it. So Rafa, I must go now. And I'm going to have a diet of lunch and keep writing. So I just want to say how delighted I am that we had this time together. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nisha. It's so beautiful to get together and talk about this. To have
contemplative practices. That's right. The mystics have always been right. They said the contemplative practice will get you home faster. Meditation is good because it prepares the soil. Rosary is good. All of these are techniques. So I think we've explored something profoundly important about information, about taking the highest information, because you are ready. If you're listening to this, you are absolutely ready. Don't even doubt it. Go for it. Pick a scripture and go, because you'll help the corks float in the sea. All right, Rafa, until next time, we can do this again, okay? I'd like that.
Sure, I'd like it very much also. Thank you, Nisha Manek, for being here. Thank you for all the beautiful wisdom and very practical information that you've shared. I hope everyone takes a few minutes of their day to look up some of these texts, which I'll try to link in the description right below the video, and to take a few minutes to look at these different texts and find something that catches your attention. Maybe randomly select a page, go to page 3 to page 6 to page 9, something connected to those numbers perhaps, and see what catches you and what speaks to you, and keep it in mind, write it down, repeat it, and be in the presence of that word, of that information, of that sacred information, and let it bathe you from the inside, and may all of this help you and help all of us remind ourselves of who we are and why we're here, and how we can make this a better place for everyone. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Mystic Podcast will leave the earth a better place. All right, Rafa, I will say goodbye to you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Bye.